Hey guys, welcome back to my YouTube channel. I wanted to make a quick video today, a video that I can just kind of make, produce, put up there, hopefully with some nice helpful tips in there for you guys, because I've been making a couple of these live edge, absolutely beautiful, wonderful color, neat little throw anything in there kind of sitting on the shelf being pretty bowls. I was given a branch. I'm pretty sure it's a branch. It might actually be a whole tree. I'm not quite sure what the wood is called. I'm just gonna go ahead and turn a pretty little bowl from this piece right here, turn it into something that looks a bit like this. Now these two have a couple of branches coming out on one side, being joined into more or less one on the other side. This one has two pits on both sides. So I'm thinking the live edge is not gonna be as live on this one as it is on this one, not as alive at least, but let's see what can come of it. All right guys, I got my piece over here at the workbench. The first thing that I gotta do is I gotta determine which part I like best for the live edge. And looking at the piece, the one kind of smiley part of the edge is over here, but on the other side there's an annoying little kind of a branch breakout thing going on. So I'm not gonna use that part. I'm gonna go for a more cleaner look on this bowl. On the other side of this this log, there's a very clean area right here that I'm gonna use on this one. So I'm just gonna set that down on the workbench, and while maintaining the general position, I'm going to take my scribe here and I'm just gonna go ahead and scribe a line where I can cut the bottom off. Like there. And there. Now this is not 100%, but hey, it doesn't need to be. This is just a guide for me to cut so that I have something to work with right here. Like there. And no way I'm gonna need all four sides scribed up, but now I have them. So then I'm just gonna put it in my workbench and start cutting using my big saw here, reciprocating saw or whatever it's really called, trying to follow these lines to create a flat bottom that I can put on my lathe. Now I'm obviously going to have to turn that around because I can't keep sawing into it while it's clamped into the bench. That's going to clamp my blade in there and burn the whole thing up. Alright, so I've cut through. I thought I haven't. So I'm gonna just go ahead and finish that off. There we go. There we go. And this is definitely not perfect. It's quite far from it, but that doesn't really matter because the next step is going to be to cut the corners off, and that's not necessary on a piece this size, but this is really, really hard wood. I want to just save myself as much of the tedious work as possible. So I'm just gonna put a rough, well, it's more a mental thing. I'm gonna imagine a line from, you know, divide the length in thirds and imagine a line from the third of this, 1/3 here, 1/3 here. Just gonna cut across on each corner, and that's gonna make the turning part so much easier. After that, I'm gonna take it to the drill press, cut out a hole in here so that I can put my drive center in. And I found the best way for cutting the corners off is simply by using a clamp. There's no way I can put it in the workbench and have it accessible to cut the corners off. So just clamp it up with access to the corners. Cinch it up nice and tight, and then just make your cuts. And we're back at the lathe. So I'm going to start off by removing my chuck from earlier. When you're putting a chuck on, I only recently stopped trying to put my chuck on really, really tight. And the only thing that would result in was me trying to get my chuck off, hammering at this key, just trying to get it loose. It doesn't gain anything from it, and especially with my Clubman, I have these three spindle screws that lock around the spindle. When I put it on, I simply, you know, that's enough. It's really tight now, and then I tighten my spindle screws, and it's on there pretty darn good. And the only thing it takes to get it off is just a light tap, and it's loose. Then of course you want to unlock your spindle, and if you have a wheel on the side, you know, it removes the risk of you losing your chuck when you're taking it off the lathe. All right, guys, drive center in. I'm gonna put it on this way first, of course, and the reason for cutting the bottom off with the reciprocating saw becomes obvious now, because now I can level this flat portion off and thereby get the result that I want on top. That became stunningly obvious with the bowl with the 3 branches, you know, the heart, the crotch figure. It would have been, of course there are other methods, but it was really easy to get the 3 branches going each direction, to get them to be level in the finished bowl, because I cut the bottom off with that in mind. So that was a nice little surprise for myself. I kind of surprised myself in figuring that out. So I'm just gonna push this out a little bit further. I like my tailstock to be out a little bit further. Like so. Now when I turn this piece, it's not even set properly, but it's not quite straight yet. So a little bit further this way, and it's closer. It's actually pretty close. This part is cut kind of crooked, so it's a little bit lower. You see just how it goes here. Yeah, this looks okay. This looks okay. Turn the lathe around. Tighten this up real nice. And then I'm just gonna put my banjo, or no, tool rest as close as possible to start rounding off the bowl. All right, let's get turning, guys. All right, hold the hate comments, hold. I'm gonna put on a mask for my face screen, and yeah, it looks kind of uneven. I've taken a lot off here and only starting to touch here. I must have measured a little bit off. All right, I have turned it around. I've put it in my chuck, cinched it up nice and tight. You'll notice that I stopped my cut from the underside towards the top here, and I did that for a reason, and the reason is that I want to cut into the bark so that I may avoid this problem. The bark is always a problem. I find it sits pretty good on this wood, but the sapwood is always kind of weak. And I probably pushed too hard on this cut, pushed too hard through the sapwood and the bark. But you can see here. So right here, I'm gonna have to cut. I'm gonna have to come from all the way in here, and try and match the cuts up to make the curve on the outside of the bowl pleasing. And that's gonna demand a bit of an undercut when I hollow the bowl out, but let's take it from a step-by-step kind of method, okay? Alright, that came out quite nice. I got a bit of a step here, but generally this looks much better. Obviously my gouge is freshly sharpened and cuts really nice. So it's time to start hollowing. Nothing much to that. I'm gonna use the more regular method of just diving in from the center, starting by a V cut in here somewhere, and then diving in straight down from there. And then I'm gonna try and make a pleasing inside curve that goes, it has to follow this curve at least, and then down to I don't want a flat bottom in this bowl. I want a pleasing curve all the way through the inside. Let me just pick up a piece that I was making today. Right around here, and I'm gonna have to figure out how I'm gonna hollow it now, how I'm gonna clean up the outside. But this is kind of what I'm going for. A thin edge, a pleasing curve on the inside. I've been forced to make the outside top edge much more. Is this in focus? Yeah, it should be. So the inside curve is really nice on this one. But then you can see the line there. That's from trying to clean it up. I used my chuck as a method of holding it, but that did not happen as I planned, and I ended up kind of ruining it. So I'm gonna have to make up my mind if I want to try and fix this one or just make another one. I can see the bark here is coming kind of loose, and it's torn up on the outside here. But then I wasn't finished with sanding it on the outside when it kind of popped off the lathe. Alright, on with the one we're working on at the moment. I'm going to be turning at around 2000, and the face shield goes on now. So because I've seen what happened with this bowl, with the bark coming kind of loose on the thin top edge here. I'm not going to go as thin on this one as I did on this one. I might even try and cut this just a little bit cleaner. Sharpen my gouge extra, a little bit extra, and just take a tiny bit off. Then I'm not gonna take more than maybe 5 mil more. It's gonna obviously be much more on this side, or this part of the bowl. But I'm just gonna try and hollow this out in a pleasing manner. Okay. I haven't gone deep. Whoa! My bark is gone. The bark is gone, guys. I guess I'm removing all of the bark then, leaving the sapwood as the live edge. Final hollowing, and then I'm gonna go home for the night. It's probably almost 8 o'clock. So with a little sanding tomorrow, this bowl is gonna be nice, I think. Not, you know, not 100% what I intended on making today, but you know, this didn't turn out 100% as intended either, and it's a very, very pleasing little bowl. I was gonna make a round bottom on it so that it could just be alive, even as it just lay on someone's counter at home. Well, this one, I think I want to make a round bottom on that as well, on this one as well. I'm gonna need something to support. I'm gonna need to come up with some kind of a solution. Probably just gonna turn this one down to size so that it can fit into this one and support it. And then round off the bottom and finish the bowl off on the outside. Tomorrow I'm gonna start off by sanding the inside of this bowl and and then move on from there. See you guys. Hey guys, so here it is, the bowl finished. It's got a layer of Danish oil on it. I'm still warming up my brand marker, but this is it. This is the bowl. Round bottom, so it spins on the ground, and a very, very pleasing curve that's slightly undercut. It maintains the thickness relatively well, I would say. It would not hold up to a millimeter inspection, but it's quite nice. It was a challenging curve to maintain, going underneath and coming back out in such a small form, but a fun challenge nonetheless, and I'm really, really pleased with the results. Let me just pick up the other two. So here's the first one, also a really, really pleasing, slightly undercut form, and somewhere I have finished a second one or a third one, my second attempt. This was my third attempt. The one that I screwed up a bit, I've glued down the bark. It's much stiffer now, and I can give it a second try at sanding it on the outside and finishing it up. And then I'm gonna have to do something about this marked line on the inside here. It's gonna be a bit of a challenge, but I think it'll be worth it. This one is also very, very pleasing. Also a round bottom. The biggest one here doesn't have a round bottom, it sits on the flat. So, one thing before you go, I'm gonna be turning this piece of some sort of an oak, I'm sure it's a red oak, into something that looks a bit like this. Also a round bottom, just a small bowl, maintains the thickness really, really nice. It's a pleasing curve as well. Pretty little bowl. I haven't finished this one or given it finish on. It's rather wet still with green wood. So I'm gonna just quickly turn this one in. So stay tuned on the channel. Let's say next week, around Tuesday next week, I'm gonna post a video on how I turn this into this. See you guys. Thanks for watching. Do like and subscribe. If you want to check out the tools that I'm using, I have an affiliate link with a shop here in Denmark, Dork and Danola. I'm gonna put the link down below to I bought my gouge, my scraper, my lathe. Check those guys out. They've got an incredible variety of tools for turning as well as, yeah, everything else. Last thing, you want to see me make more of these Christmas trees. I have one video out on my channel where I make a Christmas tree. Something like an easy beginner project, wood turning, something. So I'm making a bunch of these. I made 8 of these yesterday. I got a couple up there and one more up there from days past. Nice little things. Probably going to be easy to sell in the Christmas season. That's what I'm hoping anyway. See you guys. Thanks for watching.